getting ready to share. It's coming. Okay. There we go. We're Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live, so any of your people can connect there. And before we get started, I'm getting ready to share it. I'm gonna send. I'll text you links too, because sometimes it makes it easier.
Yeah, because people were, of course, asking me. I was like, man, I have to ask my cousin. I have no
Yes,
idea.
I'm sending it. Hold on. I'm gonna send you where you can, because we're live now.
Okay.
Oh no, come out of there. Yep, share it to my story. And I need to get this link. More options. It's being slow today. Hey y'all, I see y'all coming in. Give us just a second. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna introduce you to my guests, which I am more than happy to interview today. So while I'm sharing the video, do me a favor and you guys go ahead and get that's one text. You guys go ahead and get the video shared as well, so that your people can come in and enjoy a powerful conversation with us. I see our YouTube family coming on. I see our Facebook family coming on. Okay, Antoine, I'm sending you both the links that you can copy and share as well. Hey, Key, I see y'all coming in this morning or afternoon, because it is noon here. Oh, my goodness. Let's do a few more things. Sharing it in my groups right now. And let me get it on my personal page. So, oh, there we go. Do, 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 do.
No.
All right. We are in there, I think. You can send it to your people.
Okay.
And then we're going to, if you copy the link and send it over, they can get with us on YouTube. I see y'all. Hey, Deshauna. Hey, Kim Yarley. How y'all doing? See y'all coming in. Y'all ready for this? The wealth of information and the empowerment. Your cups are definitely going to be filled today. I can say with all my heart that I believe he's not a young man anymore. I think I had him paused at 19. But
I see where you still thinking 19. Like, right, that was probably bound
20 years ago, right? Like I'm like 20 years, and it's not the last time I seen you. I think
Right,
it's
right,
the last time that I had you framed in my head, even though
right,
I know you've gotten married, even
right.
though I know you have like kids and your own
Yep.
business. Still, I think that's the picture I had you set. So when you come in with this full beard, I'm like, oh my gosh, my little cousin is like a grown man with a family. Like this is like this is a
Right,
real grown man. This is
right.
not a little bitty guy. Good afternoon. I see y'all coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, welcome to Cup Christ Unveiling Purpose. And I get the privilege today to talk with my cousin Tavares Antoine Blanchard. I'm going to put his whole name out there. Co-founder of MPOWR, just bright, brilliant young man, just out here doing it, doing family, doing everything. And I'm just excited to kind of tell you a story, talk to you, let us talk to your people, find out a little bit more about MPOWR. Tell me about, it's not even a question on your list. Tell me, y'all welcome him good. Y'all saying hey. Tell me about the birth of it. Where did MPOWR come from? What was going on with you and what happened?
I'll say this: it's a lot to like unpackage and unfold because I think the inception of it, of I can't per se put a time and a year and a date on it. I
Okay.
do know like when we formulated or thinking of people think about names and catchy phrases and branding, and for me, just the word empower was the things that we possess internally, the things that we can that actually exist, even if they haven't been accessed yet. I know I sent that to you and probably was like, "Cuz might be on something."
Yes.
I because even as we conquer and we strategically, overcome like internally what the things that we have inside, that's what really gives us life. So it's like these tools that I have inside, like if I continue to sharpen them, whether it be like basketball related or mentorship or positive influences, but it just came about because I thought it would be cool, and two, I didn't want to put my name behind it just because I thought about branding.
Yep.
So
You should.
and so of course I'm a creative, so I was thinking about how dope logos would be. And real short is when I sent multiple samples of logos to the designer, um, I wanted it to be clean, sleek, and obviously like for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Not something that I had to that was too busy and unrecognizable.
Pause right there. Pause. Because you said something so powerful that I think a lot of time, even
Yeah.
when I'm coaching people or talking to people
Yeah.
about them becoming them, we
Mhm.
don't brand or think for the foreseeable future, right? We think catchy, we think trendy, we think
Colorful. Yeah.
that will move and shake people. But if I want to build something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is be part of the legacy and for the lifetime, then I design with the foreseeable future in mind, right? I'm a creative. My tech person, which is Josiah's son, is a creative. And right now, minimalism is way better than all what came before. All the, the glitz,
Completely agree.
the glitz and everything else. And so
Yeah.
people need to put a pause and put that in their notes today. I need to build for
Foreseeable
the future, right? Not for right now, but I need to for the foreseeable future. So I had to pull that nugget out and highlight it. I don't want us to lose that. That was like something very powerful that you said. So that's big. So when you guys were, and I know you're a co-founder, when you guys were meshing to pull this into position, how did you guys allow each other to give voice to this thing? Because it's different when it's just solo, right?
Correct.
Like, how did you guys give the other person permission or the other people permission to bring their oomph into it?
I think that's the critical piece of, I guess, when people talk about growth and scaling. So when you recognize like strengths, like for example, like my wife has rubbed off on me on the business side of it, and I've become more assertive. Initially, I didn't want to have anything to do with bookkeeping, invoicing, marketing, email brand, whatever, anything that was like not court physical, like I'm action as an action item that I'm physically doing. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So what we did is you have to recognize strengths in each other, and I think the willingness to have an open mind always, because if we want to scale business and we want to scale and bring other creatives into the fold, we have to understand like the power of delegation is key. So for me, being on the creative side, that helped us kind of establish our roles.
That's so good.
And so it's like I'm gonna give you this, and you're probably gonna be like, how did you remember that? I remember last year sometime you did a message on the executive order of how things are supposed to be designed as it relates to the family. So for us business wise, it's like my wife is, taking the torch financially, I guess on the business money side, on the monetary side of it, but which I've learned too. But I'm on the creative with flyers, really figuring out ways to engage our clients and potential clients. So really establishing roles and knowing like, well, my husband can put all this stuff together. I just got the idea, and us understand like, we possess different things. So that makes it, and having an open mind, not to be so critical of everything's incremental. So not to be so critical of, well, my wife does this well and I can't. But we also, like, I've gained a lot of confidence with learning bookkeeping. And I'm kind of a math guy. That's one of my niches. So eventually, over time, then I step into it. But acknowledging it and accepting roles.
So I'm going to tell you something because you're dropping. I always like to take bars because I think in terms of rap all the time. 'Cause I gotta but you're dropping so much knowledge that I hope for people are listening, because you can go into any partnership successfully. If it's marriage, if it's not marriage, like you can go into a partnership successfully. So let me recap the things that you said, right? One you said was recognizing each other's strengths, right? What are you strong at that I may not? And I think in a society that sometimes promotes us to be solo or to build alone, we forget how important another person's strengths are to us, that somebody else has something. And I'm glad you brought up executive order, because I'm going to go find that, replay that message, because there's an executive order to kingdom, there's an executive order to the family, and if you work within the executive order, I promise you, you'll build something so beautiful, and it'll be structured in such a place that it can flourish. Establishing roles, that's the other thing that you pulled out for me that's very powerful. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? What are we going to do together, right? Because this person is successful in books and numbers. When my late husband was alive, he was the face, the brand, and the voice behind what we did when we had our nonprofit. I was bookkeeping, legalistic documents, writing grants, making us overall look good. Now in ministry, I have a different team that does a different thing. And my son Josiah, my girl Jess, when she was here, they had their physical roles, their roles, and that's what's made us fluid and flow, right? When everybody gets in position, then we create a kind of a conduit, right?
So pause you even as us as conduits, right? Flowing through different channels. One of the things that I like to phrase, or I don't take credit for it, but like pathways to success. So everybody has to understand it's lane, like it's lane recognition. This is your lane, like just like Josiah, like this is my thing. Like me training, my wife will tell anybody all the time, like, I know how powerful my husband is, but I come as a spectator and to give moral support. And like you said too, is like understanding, like we're building and scaling for efficiency. And we talk about things being seamless all the time. Like, and I get a lot of questions, like you talked about structure and order. Me and my barber discuss that all the time, like structure and order, make things seamless. And like you, of course, going to get to the questions about leverage, about time and strategy. And you controlling those knobs. So I think understanding what you possess and not saying that you can't gain those things and learn them, but know that, hey, like I can accept that, hey, my cousin Lakeisha this is her thing, like I'm just here to support, like
and I think when we do that, we'll find ourselves building bridges that carry us over even when things get shaky, because sometimes things get shaky, right? But we have bridges that are built. So tell me this, what does it mean for you to live on purpose?
Okay, for me, live on purpose is to be very like intentional and deliberate, like in my approach, and even in how I manage my time. I've learned how to, and I'll say this, one of my good friends gave me this. It was, so it is in the spiritual, so it is in the natural. He said, Twan, you've mastered basketball your entire like life almost. He said, so now like master being spiritually balanced and master, again, like the different talents and the gifts that you possess, that you kind of pause that you didn't know existed, in a sense. So for me, it's living life on purpose is, again, being very intentional in my approach. When it comes to time, like you and I obviously communicated and said, hey, like this is an hour. So if I say, hey, like if LMJ says, hey, 12, I don't come on at 12:01. Like, and I'm a big respecter of people's time.
Me
So
too.
again, managing your time, and then finding those pockets where you know that your mind is at its most creative state. It may be in the mornings, it may be, and then for me again, it's solid structure of like this is how I need to be. This is my meditative state. This is my devotional state. So for me, it's like a spiritual anchor, and then everything else after that, like you said, that's the order for me flows. Even with my athletes, like so that's to me living on purpose, and hey, like I'm gonna be intentional, and I'm gonna be about my business. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be about action, and for me, I'm kind of old school, like being assertive in the way that hands with the face. So I'm not gonna wait around on people or wait around on time. But again, too, we can't we can't rush processes. What I can do is we talk about the word leverage. I can add some pressure
You
to
can. No,
to
you absolutely can. You can have pressure. You still drive momentum. And I
right,
think
right.
sometimes we
I like
forget
that.
to drive momentum.
I
We
like that.
still drive momentum. We
I like
can't
that.
we
Mhm.
can't push God outside of when the direct time it's going to line up, but we
Correct.
drive momentum. We can get distracted and momentum slows down and it'll be longer getting us to our process, or we can
Correct.
drive momentum and be in a constant flow of where we're supposed to be right in this space and right as this time.
Oh, that's perfect. That was my next. I think understanding and recognizing and accepting like placement. So life is phasal, right?
Yes.
Shout out to one of my greatest mentors that who I never met, Dr. Miles Monroe. Like life is
Yes.
phasal,
Yes. I'm a
right?
huge Miles Monroe fan. Yes.
So life is phasal, right? And for me right now, it's like it's my phase is uncomfortable, but I'm finding the ways to like uh, embrace my uncertainty or my discomfort, because I know like that phase is it's only seasonal, and it's kind of can be circumstantial based on how you attack it, how you approach it. But I think accepting the phase of life that you're in, and also knowing that I hope my friend Marcus Stewart is watching, is that you can't don't always trample on your seed. If it's a season for you to be marketing, or if it's a season for you to be connecting with community, like you can't always be so busy that you disturb the seed, like that you kind of kick it around in a sense. Like so,
You're
once
getting me so excited. Like this is so
he gave me that years ago, and literally I said, hey, it's time for me to kind of sit still. Like we've planted, and we have to be patient, because no processes can be rushed. And
yes.
I call it slow cooking, just like I give that language to my athletes. Like it takes time for things to evolve. Like, and you have to be in a constant mindset of like have an open mind, and be open and be willing to learn, to always explore the possibilities, but not get too ahead of yourself where you're like it's not organic in a sense. Like
No, and I think that's important. You just because I organic and fluid are like some things I like to vibe in, right? And
okay,
one of the things I had to teach myself as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as a wife, as all of these other things is exactly what you said, like about the seed. Like once
mm-hmm,
the seed is planted, right?
mm-hmm,
Then it's watered. I did a whole study on the seed, right? And
mm-hmm,
we taught it. And then it's given increase, but it has to take root. And I think a
right,
lot of times we don't think about how important it is for the root. Hey, Lando, we
mm-hmm.
don't think it how we don't understand how important it is for the roots of it, like for the roots to sink in and how
Interesting.
solid we want roots, right?
Yeah.
So we'll think a little bit is not happening on top,
Ooh,
right? Because we'll see a little bit,
increments, right? Yeah.
but underneath, the roots are becoming solid and strong for what has to happen later. You
Right.
need strong roots. If you have an oak tree that you're building or a redwood tree type business
You're
type,
anchored.
those roots are deeper, are longer, they're going to continuously grow. So
Right.
in my waiting, you said something and it just triggered something to me. In my waiting, instead of me not nurturing that seed or being patient in that season, what typically some of us will do is, because our visions are probably, we've seen them 10 years down the line,
Mhm.
we'll go run and try to plant something else that we think is going to create a quicker result, when really
True.
we sit still and nurture the seed that's there and operate in the season
That is what did so much.
So I'm like, okay, you and I probably gonna have to part two, because this is
Right,
deep.
because it reminds me of, again, like when you think about people building foundations, like companies go in and again to the deepest core of the ground that they can establish boulders, like
Yes,
that's what's gonna maintain um, again longevity. So again, like you said, for the foreseeable, but right now I need to be driving. I need to be in this seat, like driving in this direction because, and again, like it's, I think for me, even on the court is like I talk about skill mastery a lot.
yeah,
So if I said, hey, Josiah, like I want you to learn, the crossover, this is again, oh, hey mom, I need to start doing this. Like, but our minds do travel because we feel like time is kind of frozen.
yes,
But I think that's, to me, that's you understanding the power of your faith is like, if you have a trust issue, then everything begins internally. So you can't conquer a thing if you're so, to me, like, have so much anxiety about something that you believe.
yeah. If you
Those
believe,
things are
right? When
those
it's,
things are that's counterintuitive, counterproductive. If you're saying, hey, this is my vision, this is how we're gonna get there. Sometimes again you have to be patient and wait. Yeah.
and waiting, like patience produces so much. And
Mm-hmm.
as I am getting more mature, I'm not going to talk about my age, I'm talking
Right.
about spiritual maturity. As I'm getting more mature, I promise you, waiting on the best thing that's supposed to happen in this season is better than me rushing and creating something that's kind of half. So you leveraged your dreams as an athlete, which I think is so important. I am a firm believer that whatever is inside of us is not for ourselves, right? It's not
Right.
for us to
Right.
become rich. It's not just for us to be successful. It's in us
Agreed.
that we can go and it can flow out to someone else. So you
Right.
leverage your dreams as an athlete. Tell me how you did that. Tell me how you didn't get stuck in just, I'm just going to play. And if I don't play, this is it. Because people do it all the time, right? If this doesn't manifest into the
That's it.
NBA, into the polls, I'm done. What was in you that made you take this and make this work for someone else?
I'll say this, in the initial part of my journey, even as an athlete playing ball, like I'm gonna be completely honest and transparent. Like I wasn't concerned. Like I wasn't given strategy. So my mind was always focused on, I'm going to be competitive. To be competitive, I want to be the best. That was my mantra. Um, and also, like, I just did the work. Like I was so, I feel like, buried in the work of, like, I had my trainer, but again, I didn't know how uh, strategic it was at the time. I play during the week, then I train, then I go, do my ACT prep. It was all the same. It was very systematic, and I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that was what it was happening. I just was doing the work all along. And fast forward to college, know that it's coming to, college career is coming to an end, graduating, and I had aspirations of wanting to play ball overseas. Um, And one day, Keisha, I literally, after training 3 hours a day, multiple days a week, you would have thought I was going to go play for the Olympic team, like that. But that's just my personality. It's built into my DNA, like no matter what it is. And so anyway, it just came to me one day, and I was like, that's it. Like basketball is it's stuff for, and I went into the reverse of like, man, what am I? I don't want to be a sitting duck. And for me, you know, Mike Tyson talked about how he's friends with fear. So am I. I had a lot of fears of being a failure or not being successful, and not making people proud. But then you have to look internally about your self-validation and not externally of how people are gonna perceive you, the perceptions of how they thought you should pan out. And so once I realized, like, man, like God gave me something so significant, so unique, and even you alluded to over text, is I believe that God put me in position to provoke change and to get people out of stagnation and mediocrity, in the sense of not financial status or like you said, financial prowess, but that stuff is secondary for me, and that's how it's happened. Like God said, hey, focus on vision, and then all of the money stuff I don't even worry about, because it doesn't. I don't have.
The money will come, right?
So I think when I realized, like, the mentorship, like I like to talk about, the connectivity is the culture that was breeded into me. So it's just me passing along the gift to other people, but doing it in a way that's always questioning, like, how did you gain your philosophy about your work ethic? How did you gain your mentality? Do you need a mentality shift? Do you need to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, like, well, maybe college basketball isn't for you? But I asked those questions in a way that really, again, provokes change. And again, the world sees provocation as a negative tone. But I, of course, learned from Bishop T.D. Jakes is that you in unprovoked, like, again, causes stagnation. You won't even understand, like, what you're capable of. Again, you can't leverage anything that you don't know that exists
until you're agitated or provoked, right? Like that is part of my mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Really me more provoking you or agitating you and telling you, like, I'm your purpose pusher. I'm pushing. And I don't want you comfortable around me. I want to make you uncomfortable, because I know if you're uncomfortable, then you'll start looking to say, because we can become very satisfied with, this is where I'm going, this is where I'm headed, but it's all really tied into a bigger scheme of things. So when you recognize and said, okay, this is it for me in basketball, right? Then some thing, person, moment, television show, book, something has to come in and pop you, to tell you, to provoke you, to say to you, okay, this is the end of this, but there is something inside of you, out of the discipline, out of the ACT studying, out of your culture background, out of all the different things that's in, something in this process that you learned is connected to the bigger vision and the bigger picture, which is why we cannot afford to chase dollars, right? So once we are in a place of doing that and understanding, then we can really leverage, right? We can really leverage, and he can get glory out, you know what I'm saying, out of it. And so I think that's important. Okay, I got to get more questions. We'll be out of here, but I want to give the term of what I mean by when I say leverage, right? So when we talk about leverage, it's using an exertion or a force, right? Or a lever or a process, right? And what it does is it puts us in a place to be successful. You can leverage anything. You can take anything that you've had and use it to bring balance to where you're going. You can take your processes and it leverages your future. So I just there's so much packed. Let me give you. I gotta go. I gotta give another question. We almost out of time in just a second.
Yeah, we are.
How do you deal with yourself when you find yourself making excuses?
Honestly, I go back to processes. Have I done things that have gotten me out of alignment spiritually? Like, that's the first step. Like, was I lazy not devoting the time? Did I give an excuse to not praying? Did I not was I not disciplined enough to commit to my commitment? Like I said, that again, processes is the umbrella, and all of the discipline and the commitment. And again, it's like, every day, like, say, this is gonna be funny, but every day I might not want to be married tomorrow. But guess what? I committed to my wife. So that's what's on the agenda. So I think understanding that you can gain so much sharpness and so much knowledge, again, to harness all of that stuff spiritually, like, that's when I can check myself and say, hey, like, I'm feeling impatient because I haven't consulted, like, with the spirit, like, today.
Yeah.
So for me, that's where it starts. And two, physically, like, if I snoozed or if I didn't get up, then it's a trickling effect. It's a domino effect in a sense. So the discipline and the structure and the routine and having that really high sense of, like, consciousness is like, I need to check myself. Like, I'm at an imbalanced, like, point, like, and I need to, like, stop and regroup and reset. And so and that happens really quickly for me.
For me too.
Because I value time, so I don't want to waste valuable time, like, self-sabotaging. I talk to my athletes, talk to myself about that a lot. We have to be aware of, like, what's going to put you back in place, and give yourself time to fall back into it,
But I think that also comes from being self-aware. And most of us do not have as much self-awareness as we think we do.
Yeah.
Like, we have knowledge of what may be going on around us, but we're not necessarily self-aware. We are out of time. I'm bringing you back in for a part 2, but I need to drop. I just need you to share with them, encourage everybody watching and those that are listening to the podcast later, encourage them how to live on purpose. Like, you just give them some nuggets of what you take with you every day to execute MPOWR, to execute all the other things you do, because it's not just training. I want you to share before we go.
I just want to reiterate, be very intentional. Okay, I focus on this daily: intention and purpose. So do things intentionally, with intention, and do things on purpose. So success is built on that, like the discipline of, like, I'm going to focus on this intentionally, and I'm going to go about this with the purpose of execution and me being more efficient. I also encourage people to really attack the things that you want to gain. And again, don't surpass the increments of the phase. Like, don't fast forward your mind where you're in a place where you're not prepared to arrive yet. So really be patient with yourself, be patient with the process, focus on, again, creating incremental small goals that, again, and the biggest thing I can say is, don't allow external people, things, ideologies, philosophies to disrupt, like, your discipline and your dedication to yourself, because that's not where your validation lies. So continue. I honestly, again, like, I was thinking about this, is, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. So if that's your driving force, that's your anchor, then everything else will take care of itself, and you're free to have the risk-taking courage and to be confident in your choices, and you know, like our motto is currently is, you know, exhaust every measure, however that exists in your mind, and
Yeah.
leave nothing to chance. Like exhaust every opportunity, exhaust every lane, exhaust every resource, exhaust every effort in yourself. That's how
You're
you.
right. You said looking forward to part two. Me too, Shayla. Like I'm looking forward to part two because I got to bring him back because
I appreciate it.
he's dropped too many nuggets. I think he and I can flow in this. I have a whole nother realm of questions that I
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
because you're living out what people are learning to live out. We are here on purpose. We are not here on accident.
That's right.
Nothing is coincidental.
That's right.
Everything is providence. Every step you
Mhm.
make opens up the door, opportunity for you to walk in, everything else. So, Antoine, thank you for filling our cup today. I'm going to get with you guys to get you scheduled back soon.
Okay.
I'm talking about like soon because
Soon, I got you.
a volume of wealth and information, and to see you doing this, to see you walking this out, and to see you even in a measure of self-control, which is a fruit of the spirit, right?
Right.
It just does me great pleasure to be here today. My son Joe must be on watching too, because he just said yes, and that's not me typing. So the fact that he was on here watching lets me know these seeds got dropped into him. So we appreciate you. We thank you. You guys
Thank you.
tell Tavares, thank you. And we will definitely have you back in so that we can talk. When you're in town, make sure you share with me, especially if you're going to do some training sessions here so I can push it for you, put it out there.
Okay.
And we can get some people in to get connected to you. Somebody said their cup is definitely full. So we will see you guys back next week for Cup Christ Unveiling Purpose. Love y'all. Peace and blessings.